my mom like gave her my dad's address. This is when I first moved in with my dad. And she would like look at it, and then she goes, oh, "Okay, your bedroom's upstairs, and then there's a light in front of the door. That light's always out." And I'm like, "What the f? That is a light." Yeah, she's right. And I'm like,
she was your dad's mistress.
She's been there already.
Dude, I left my panties on the living room. Can you pick it up for me?
And welcome back to a really, really interesting, and I don't know anything about this topic, episode of The Careful Boys, where Joe, take it away.
Enlighten us.
Hey guys, imagine if you can have psychic powers and you can see things that's not in front of you. Things miles away, things all over the world. You can see
In real time, like it's happening at the moment.
No, sometimes in the past, sometimes in the future too.
So it's space and time travel.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Wow.
you're physically here.
Oh.
This is called
Acid. Oh, okay. Keep
It's called remote viewing.
Astral projection? No, it's not the same.
That's a part of that. That's a part of
Extra sensory perception. ESP.
It's astral projection.
ESP.
ESP. So Nick kind of mentioned it, and he said he went on a deep dive. What got
Not
you?
as deep as you.
Okay, but what interested you?
I saw there was this, somebody did an article about all the different cases where they use something like a remote viewing to actually solve some murders.
Yeah.
And I just was like, that's pretty crazy.
Wait, how is that like justifiably like accurate?
I think what
I
they
have no
do
idea.
is like, let's say,
Fill in the gaps.
Let's say, yeah, if you have a detective that believes in this kind of shit, then they'll get the live viewer, and then the viewer can, like, let's say, pick up what happened at a certain space in time, and once they describe that, then that detective will go, okay, let me go back to that site and look for this actual thing. So maybe a place he never looked before, like, oh wait, maybe I'll look under this rock. I never thought to look under this rock, but because of what this described, he picked up the rock. Oh shit, the fucking dagger was there. Or whatever.
Dude, that's pretty crazy.
So there is a case where this remote viewer was able to find a fugitive in a state that was completely off track from what the authorities were looking for. So like this dude, yeah, he went off and he was like in like Arizona or something like that. Everybody was looking on the East Coast, and this remote viewer was like, I see cowboys, I see Western, I see like cactus. He's in the West. He's in the Wild West. And then everyone's like, no fucking way, no. But then there was one cop. It's always a movie where it's like, I believe you. Yeah. And then they went, and then I guess this fugitive was like, went on a phone call. Like, you know, like they're supposed to just like not contact the family and all that.
Yeah.
But then somehow they traced him back. They found, and then he took a picture, and then he sent it to like a family member, and then he was just like, I'm just chilling, whatever. And then they were able to look at the picture and they go, oh fuck, that's that national fucking forest or whatever. But basically they caught the dude.
Joshua Tree.
Yeah. But they went, it's because of a remote viewer helped them out. Wow. But the craziest thing about this, and you know how the CIA, you can go on their website and look at all the files and documents and whatever. They invested hella money into psychic powers back in like the 50s and 60s, because during the Cold War, they were convinced that China, Russia, all these guys were already ahead of the game. Like they were already investing in supernatural shit. They were already investing in like all this like psychic power stuff, and they were ahead of the game and they needed to catch up. So they wanted to scientifically create a program where it's like, if this is real, right? How can we replicate it, and how do we know how real it is?
Stranger Things.
And then they created a program. Yeah, Stranger Things is actually like playing on the reality of, they had an institute, and it's still, you can go there and train for it. It's called the Monroe Institute, and they train. You could go from civilians and anyone, you can pay for it.
What the fuck?
This fool spilled water all over himself.
Damn.
You can go, and I really want to do this.
Is that like that's like the psychological or like hypnosis institute? Or?
It's not hypnosis. It teaches you how to remote view,
Wow.
or like it helps you harness. And he goes, all humans has this ability with intuition and all that stuff.
It's like a spank bank.
So yeah, and then they do different exercises to develop these powers.
It's still apparently officially, because the CIA and U.S. military explored it in intelligence gathering, there's no scientific evidence to support its existence, so it's generally considered pseudoscience.
Yeah,
Right.
But it still
somehow
but like,
works.
all right,
Stop being negative, man.
it is. But why the fuck would they still keep these programs going? Why the fuck do they have money, so much money invested into it?
And pseudoscience could just be another phrase for we haven't found a way to prove it yet.
Yeah.
But there is some use cases for
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
For sure. It's
But
like-
okay, going back to how they developed it, I thought this was fucking crazy, right? Cause like, I don't know, I'm just like, why would they put money into this thing? But anyways, they first wanted to qualify a good candidate. How do they know who might be good for psychic powers and who might not be, right? So inside of their military, they started looking at stats, and then they're like, let's look for guys that have a high survival rate and a low survival rate field, like special ops or whatever. And then they found one dude who was like, basically like a high level special ops guy that was way like older than a lot of his other colleagues, because most of them I think they leave in their 20s, but I think he was like in his 40s or something. And then he's like, wow, he has a extraordinary survival rate, whatever. So they're like, well, maybe these guys have either good intuition or psychicness, and that's why. And then so his reasoning was always like, I felt it, like sometimes you just feel behind the door there's someone there. So then for him, like he'd be able to like just shoot through the door, know someone's there or whatever.
Oh.
So he had really good intuition. He became like the Michael Jordan of remote viewing.
Whoa.
Where he was able to like fucking always nail. Like he's the one that uncovered the massive submarines that the Soviet Union had.
Whoa.
I think they even made a movie called The Hunt for Red October or whatever.
What the foheezy?
Yeah. And then the way that they would do this is like, let's say you're the psychic, right? We go into an isolated room with no stimulus, and then I have coordinates that is just GPS coordinates. And then I fold this up, put it into my my envelope. I don't know what the coordinates are. Like, let's say he's my commander. He gives me the coordinates. I put it in my pocket. We sit down, and then we go through a session, and I start asking you, okay, so what do you see? Where are you at? Whatever. And I just start making notes. You're like, I'm in a field. It's a grassy field. It looks like Russia. Okay. I see a gray warehouse. There's 3 cars. And then you just start writing notes. And I don't know where this is because I'm not going to nudge you, or I'm not going to make you like, I gotta be unbiased, right?
Yeah.
And then so I would just be the note taker, and I'll just keep asking you questions. What else do you see? You see this? And then you just go through your session, and then afterwards, like, I'll have the report, and I give it back to my commander. My commander would be like, okay, cool. So let's look at the satellite image, and then it matches whatever. Whoa. And then so the remote viewer would tell you like, okay, they're building like a tank here or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. And then, so that was one way that they recruited. Another way that they recruited were like, just out of the civilian world, they would try to find psychics and see, and then they would go through these tests to see how real it is. Because there's like, you know, there's
Con artists.
there's con artists. But the way that they would try to see if they know what they're doing is like, let's say I have a picture of a Ferris wheel, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll just ask them to like, okay, like, draw what you see or whatever. And then the people that were always nailing like what I made, like one guy, I think he made a spider web. So they're like, oh yeah, that looks like this. So I think he knows what it is. Where they fuck up is when they try to define what they're drawing. Yeah.
Oh.
When they describe it, it's almost perfect. But when they put a name to it,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it's a Ferris wheel, and then he was drawing all the lines to it on the psychic side. But then when they say, "What do you think it is?" they go, "Oh, I think it's a spider web." Yeah, or like I think it's a car rim, and it's all like similar, right?
Close.
Yeah, it's really close. So then they just start like doing all these experiments, and then the people that always kept nailing that, they
got better with
they got better and better and better, and then they became like the Superman team of remote viewers.
The
so
Avengers.
every day they said that their work day was like, it's like a regular 9 to 5 job. You come in, and then he's like, the thing is, when you're a real psychic, like you can't, it doesn't, it's like a 24-hour thing. It comes in when it comes in. So all these different people have different powers. It's like the X-Men like academy. So they'll be having lunch, and then they'll just like, today I have no ideas. I have nothing coming in. And then other days it's like 10 hours straight, idea after thing.
Whoa,
Yeah,
it's a flow for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's like kind of like creatives when you get a creative block, nothing comes in, but then when you go in on a flow, you just keep coming out with
yeah.
shit. Like,
they said that's what it's like.
nonstop.
It's like you're being in the
Like,
zone, and then you just have
yeah.
hella ideas.
And I think there's a source to all these things that come into all of our minds, like whether it be psychic images, creative ideas, whatever, emotions, whatever. It's coming from something, and it comes out of nowhere too.
Yep.
That's the crazy part.
So there's a publicly available, like you could just go up on YouTube. It's called HemiSync. So there's these meditative tapes that help you develop these powers in your brain. And the idea is they stimulate a certain frequency. And I tried this up to like tape 3. It gets kind of difficult.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
How long is each tape?
Like 20-30 minutes. It's not that long, but then you have to practice every fucking day. And you know the Brian Lee, the Kung Fu guy?
Yeah, he does it.
He did all of them. Well, he went to like level 12 or whatever. I haven't been past level 3, but it's just meditative focus tapes, right? And it helps you. And so like the first is like it helps you kind of like shut everything down, and it plays a frequency to stimulate both right and left hemispheres of your brain. And then you start trying to like clear everything out, and you harness this ability to see more of your intuition. And then so from that you can start controlling like leaving your body and going here and going to the room there and astral projection and all these other things. And I'm like, if this can be done like through exercise, fuck, that would be so sick. And I wish I had more time to just explore that area.
Yeah, you know what I think it can't be proven? It's because there's no way you can measure what somebody else is viewing and perceiving and all that, because they can only measure brain waves and like whatever. So if you're experiencing something that you know for sure is happening, like how do you prove that, you know?
Yeah, I think that's how the CIA try to make it scientific, to where it's like, okay, how do we make this replicable? You know, like how do we
consistent, right?
Right, so it's like that's how they came up with the thing. But a lot of the people of the Monroe Institute, or the people that were the psychics there, they're like, it's such a restrained surface thing, because that was one of the only methods is like you have coordinates in a pocket, and then you have to remote view that coordinate.
Damn.
But it's like there's so many ways they get visions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so uncertain, and it's like all over the place. That's why when you try to put a value to it, it's how are you gonna measure that, you know?
I told you guys about my mom's homie, right? Yeah, well, one of them, she used to be in Diamond Bar, and this was in high school, so pre-Google Maps, and my mom like gave her my dad's address. This is when I first moved in with my dad when I was like 15 or 16, and then she just wrote the address down, and then she would like look at it, and then she goes, oh, okay, so your bedroom's upstairs. It's facing, and then I forgot what it was, like east or some shit. And like the whole time is fucking because my mom hasn't even been to my dad's house because they're divorced, right? Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah, so you're facing east, and then there's a light in front of the door. That light's always out. And I'm like, what the fuck? That is a light. Yeah, she's right. And I'm like, what the fuck that is? And she's like, you need to put a light in there. It's causing some sort of whatever weird energy. And then she named how many rooms are in the house.
Dude, I love that
And I'm
shit.
like, what?
I love that shit.
She was your dad's mistress.
She's been there already.
Dude.
I left my panties on the living room. Can you pick it up for me?
Fucking my lipstick is right here.
Yeah, that shit was. I was like,
Didn't even see that one coming.
my mom had so many homies like that it like I got desensitized to all.
Yeah,
honestly.
I feel like a lot of Eastern and like just older cultures were really into this psychic shit, but over time technology just kind of took over, science took over, and like it just people just got further and further
So,
away from that.
This is what we do. We bring it back. We bring back JK Party, but we like the boys do it, and then that's team 1, team 2.
This is the X-Men. My mom's.
Your
homies.
mom's homies, right? We all go through the Monroe Institute. We all go through it. We do our training. We see who comes out on top.
Who wins the finals? Party finals.
We do. What was it called again? Remote viewing. Fucking.
We're the underdogs.
Challenge. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're the underdogs, and we got to come
Hey,
out.
you know what you guys gotta try? Anybody here like going to watch like Vegas shows and shit?
I love it, dude.
I've never been yet.
Okay, I shit you not.
Who doesn't like going?
So I've seen almost like all the ones that are like top rated things I need to see. But I've seen some like 2-3 times, whatever. Right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm high level.
Like Carrot Top.
The ones I want to see. And then I was like, you know, people keep on coming into town. We keep on like hosting people, so it's like, oh, we should go take them to a show, right?
Yeah, always hosting.
I'm amazing. They always want to hang out with me. Nobody calls Bart because he goes to sleep at 8. And so then finally I'm like, hey, you know what? We went to on me and Nina's like wedding kind of bridal party coming over and like us having our Elvis wedding in Vegas. We went to go see Shin Lim. Right? Shin Lim was so fun. You know I've been wanting to watch Shin Lim. It's like so fun. The guy's so charismatic, hilarious. But he had an opener, which was Colin Cloud, right? And this guy does like, he's a mentalist, right? Kind of like Savio.
Oh,
And all the shit that was like, what the fuck? Like how, like sleight of hand stuff, I can kind of comprehend why I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Mental stuff, that's literally you're blowing my mind, literally, right? Yeah. So this guy, he opens, and I remember being like, that was really entertaining, but Shin Lim's main acts were focused on that. And then Shin Lim moves because they closed down the Mirage to open up the Hard Rock, and Shin Lim moves over to like Venetian or something, like Palazzo, right? But then Colin Cloud, during that move, he gets his own show at the Harrah's. So it's like really cheap, and it's like right under where like fucking Donny Osmond does his like nightly show, and he's like the main act of Harrah's. But I looked at it, I was like, dude, these tickets are really cheap. I was like, I remember him being kind of tight in the beginning of Shin Lim.
When you say cheap, how much is it?
Maybe like 40, 50, 60 bucks.
Okay. That's solid.
That's like pretty, like that's on like the lower end of
Yeah, because lower end of like regular is like 100.
Yeah.
Does it end before 8?
It can. I think
I might go watch it.
the show might be like 7:30 or something. It ends at 9.
Ah, forget it.
Well,
might as well be at midnight.
I'm gonna tell you right now, without trying to like blow it out of proportion, but just because of the uniqueness of it, and again, because I'm bragging and I totally work in theater and entertainment and stuff like that, and I understand a lot of different ways that shows happen, from a production element, transitions, just acts in general.
Yeah.
Mentalism or whatever that's called, I can't comprehend it. And this guy's show blew my fucking mind.
What did he do?
Dude, literally the first thing, it was just me, Nina, and like 2 of our other homies, right? And we go there and we're like, okay, the only way this is gonna be like super impressive is that like bring us on stage or something like that. Right away, and again, this one is like the opening small act. Right away, he's like, all right, anybody got like 6-digit law code on their phone, right? And I was like, okay, I rose my hand. And then he brings me up there. So right out the gates, we're already like,
You're invested now.
yeah. And I
What's your
know
code so the
that-
audience knows?
Yeah, it's anyways.
Is it easy? Is it simple?
So here's the thing. The funny thing is, he's like, most people, like, they end up using their birthday, blah, blah, blah. So, like, you know, looking at you, I'm guessing, and he starts guessing things about me. And, like, when he walked me up, he already asked me, he's like, what's my name? And, like, what do I do? I'm like, oh, my name's Anthony. I'm a dancer, blah, 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 right?
You already knew.
But he didn't. But the thing is, like, so when he goes up, he, like, talks a little bit about this. He's holding my phone. He gives me his phone. And then he's like, okay, well, this blah, blah, blah is Anthony. He's a dancer. So my friends are already, like, impressed. But I told him afterwards, I was like, no, he asked me that stuff. But then what it fucking blew my mind with was, he was like, and he's a Gemini. And I was already like, okay, I don't know, lucky guess, really small trick.
Because your cool outfits.
That's, I mean, 1 out of 12 though.
That's pretty crazy.
And then
That's
he goes,
pretty
like,
crazy.
Most people usually
On
use
a
the
show.
codes, blah blah blah. So like, I'm gonna guess that yeah, blah, 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 early, blah 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 blah, and he like starts putting in the code, and Nina obviously knows my code and stuff, so she's already like really interested. And again, that's just the second part of a small trick of something that's ramping up my interest. And then he's like, but the real trick is understanding like how Anthony's gonna figure out my code.
Whoa.
And then he's like, I want you to think of any numbers, right? And then I'm starting to think of any numbers. He's like 1 through 10, blah blah blah, and I put that in. He's like, okay, now 1 through 100, think of any 2 numbers, blah blah blah. All right, for this last one, you're gonna think of 3 numbers, and I want you to think of anything, and I want to make sure that you can think of anything you want. So I'm trying to like cheat the system. I'm not trying to think of some random number. What if I got coaxed into seeing something subliminally, right? Like the movie Focus with Will Smith and shit like that. Like what if I've been like conditioned before I bought my tickets to whatever, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna choose a random 3-digit number. So I think of my dad's first Boy Scout troop number.
Oh shit.
299, right?
Wow.
And then, so he's fucking with me. In between me finding out his number, he's doing my number, and then he unlocks my phone and shows everybody. Everybody's already fucking cheating, right?
Damn.
And
So he knew your number?
yeah, he just figured it out, and he unlocked it in front of everybody. Wow. And then I'm 3 digits in on his, and I'm like, I got my dad's Boy Scout number for the last 3 digits, right? And then for some reason, at the last second, right, I'm like, I'm gonna change it to my dad's new troop number. Oh. Still a Boy Scout troop number. I was like, for some reason, I still feel like I'm just gonna change it last second. Maybe, I don't know if you got the vibrations that I really was thinking of something. So I changed it to my dad's newer troop number 901, right? And he's like, all right, you got your 3 numbers? I was like, yeah, I'm all confident. I put it in, it fucking unlocks. Whoa. And this is the opening small app.
That's crazy.
I'm saying there's other shit that I was sitting there going, what the
How did he unlock your phone? That's unsafe.
How you unlock your phone is crazy.
But in the concept and the reason why I bring it up is like there's
What's this fool's name?
Colin Cloud. I really suggest you watch this guy's show because it's a totally different version of like Vegas entertainment, of like the theatrics, costumes, lights, production, timing. It's just one dude, small intimate room, saying wild shit, and you're like, what? Wait, what? The whole time. And it was like one of my favorite shows I've ever seen.
Do you like trying to figure out what the thing was?
You try, but then when you run into like a blank wall every time, and you're just constantly like, I don't, and he's moving on to the next trick. You're just like, fuck it, just blow my mind.
I think. Wow. Him figuring out your phone is more mind blowing than you figuring out his phone.
Really?
I would assume that too, but it's because I put such a personal relation on the numbers that I ended up choosing. Like my dad's Boy Scout troop, it made it personal for me.
Yeah. Because I think.
And that's already preset too, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that could
Yeah,
be-
because it could be
I
an
think
app.
it could be an app that
No, that's fair.
you
but
could
like
put
I
in
said,
any number.
I'm just delivering the opening act that was already like, okay, I'm sold on like.
That's a good one though.
I'm like, it's not a paid actor. If I was sitting there and somebody else went up, I'm still in the skeptical mindset of like, all right, maybe that was like part of the.
Just even cracking your own phone is crazy.
But
Yeah.
I'm really curious how he cracked your phone.
Yeah.
I want to know what the secret is.
What if he has the Apple main code where you could crack all? But that's
That's-
crazy.
I wonder if you were to try any other combination, what would have happened?
I can still perceivably understand how that's like I can see how maybe that trick could be figured. But like I said, that's the first part, and there's things that are crazier than that in the show.
Dude, if it was me, after unlocking it, I was like, wait, hold on, let me unlock it and try a different number and see if it still unlocks. That would have been funny if it just unlocked anyway.
Just
way to
saying, I recommend you watch Colin
Colin
Cloud.
Cloud.
Shout out Colin Cloud.
Damn, that's tight.
He follows me.
Hey.